The morning after my mother turned my life into a public relations incident, I learned that silence can be louder than scandal. It has weight, polish, and, apparently, a jeweler on speed dial. By 7:30, my phone had become an enemy. My mother had sent 6 messages before breakfast. Good morning, darling. Sleep softens resistance. Not entirely, obviously. You have your father's stubbornness and my timing. I'm sending ring options. Do not be dramatic. Actually, be dramatic if you must. Just be decisive. Alexandra has excellent hands. Consider that. That last message was practical, not inappropriate. I stared at the screen from the kitchen island, barefoot, still in a silk robe, with coffee going cold beside me. My mother was a widow, a philanthropist, a board member, a social force, and apparently a menace before 8 in the morning. Kate's messages were worse because they were funnier. Daniel says congratulations, but also he wants to know if Mom has the legal authority to assign spouses now. I told him she has no legal authority. Only emotional terrorism and excellent stationery. Is Alex moving in? Please say no. Actually, please say yes, but only if you intend to send me updates. I typed back with one thumb. Nothing is decided. Kate answered immediately. That means something is being decided. You are becoming mother. Take that back. No. Cruel. Accurate, but cruel. I set the phone down and looked around my kitchen as if it might offer counsel. It did not. My kitchen was one of the reasons I bought the house. White plaster walls, dark wood beams, hand-painted blue and cream tile behind the stove, brass fixtures that had aged into warmth instead of shine. It was the kind of kitchen people imagined cooking in on slow Sundays, barefoot, with music playing and someone they loved stealing fruit from the counter. In reality, I used it mostly for coffee, protein bars, and standing alone while answering emails. The house had character. I had systems. The house wanted someone to live in it. I had quarterly projections. That was fine. That was healthy. That was a perfectly respectable arrangement between a woman and her real estate. My phone buzzed again. Alex, are you alive? I looked at the message longer than necessary. Then I typed, unfortunately. Good. Your mother sent me rings. Destroy your phone. Tempting. One option has side stones. I think she's escalating. Ignore her. I tried that at 6:42. At 6:49, she sent me a photo of your hand from the gala. I closed my eyes. Of course she had. I apologize for my mother. That feels like a full-time job. It is unpaid. You should unionize. I did not smile. I absolutely did not smile. I simply experienced a brief, involuntary facial malfunction. I have a cancellation at 1. Come by the studio. We need to talk before your mother chooses a diamond with political influence. I have work. So do I. You invited me to your workplace. Yes. Since your mother invited me into your life. This feels balanced. Balanced. I hated that word now. 1 o'clock. 30 minutes. 45. 35. See you at 1. I looked at the screen. She had not agreed to 35. Of course she had not. Alexandra Brooks had a way of sounding cooperative while doing exactly what she intended. I found that invasive. And efficient. Which was worse. By 10, the company had become aware of the rumor. No one said anything directly at first. That was the benefit and curse of high-performing employees. They understood hierarchy, discretion, and the silent violence of curiosity. My chief of staff, Elena, entered my office with a tablet and the face of someone trying not to know something. Your 10:30 was moved to 11, she said. Good. And the Phoenix deck is ready. Good. And Mrs. Vale from the museum board sent flowers. I looked up. Elena placed a cream envelope on my desk. Congratulations to you and Alexandra. Such a beautiful surprise. I read it once. Then again. Then I looked at Elena. Her expression remained professional. Heroic woman. Put them somewhere no one will interpret, I said. That may be difficult. Why? They're white roses. I stared at her. Elena stared back. They look bridal, she said very carefully. I leaned back in my chair. Of course they do. Would you like me to send them home? No. Then it looks intentional. Would you like me to dispose of them? That looks guilty. Would you like me to say thank you and place them in the second conference room? I pointed at her. That is why I pay you. She nodded. Also, your mother called. No. I didn't answer. Excellent. She left a message. Deleted. I thought so. Elena turned to leave, then paused. Vivian. Yes. Her face softened in a way I did not appreciate during business hours. Are you all right? I held her gaze. I could have said yes. It would have been easier. Instead I said, I am being aggressively loved. Elena's mouth twitched. Understood, she said. Then she left, and I sat alone in my office, staring at the city beyond the glass. Not a penthouse office. Not exactly. The building had height, yes, and money, and the kind of views investors enjoyed because they made risk look clean. But my actual office was warmer than people expected. Walnut shelves. Framed architectural sketches. A rug from my father's old study that my mother insisted looked better with me than it ever had with him. My father had liked old things. Not expensive old things necessarily. Useful old things. Solid things. He used to say that a room should have at least one object in it that had survived someone else's bad decisions. I wondered what he would have said about my current situation. Probably something gentle. Probably something unhelpful. Probably he would have looked at my mother, sighed, and said, Evelyn, darling, did you start with consent or arrive there later? Then she would have kissed him on the cheek and ignored the question. I missed him suddenly. Not dramatically. Not as an ache that took over the room. Just as a warm absence. Something steady that would have stood between my mother's certainty and my own pride and made both of us behave slightly better. My phone buzzed again. Don't forget Alexandra at 1. I am not a child. No, darling. Children are easier to direct. I set the phone face down. At 1 o'clock, I arrived at Alex's studio, prepared to be unimpressed. That was my third mistake. The building sat on a quiet side street in West Hollywood behind a discreet gate and a wall of climbing jasmine. No neon. No loud branding. No glass front full of people punishing themselves on treadmills in public. A small brass plaque beside the door simply read, A. Brooks Studio. Private training and wellness. Understated. Annoyingly tasteful. Inside, the space smelled faintly of cedar, citrus, and clean linen. Sunlight poured through high windows onto pale wood floors. There were reformer machines, mats, free weights arranged with almost architectural precision, shelves of towels, a small consultation room with books on movement, recovery, anatomy, stress, and performance. It did not feel like a gym. It felt like a place where powerful people came to be told the truth in good lighting. A woman in her late 60s walked out of the main studio as I entered, silver hair pulled into a perfect low bun, diamond tennis bracelet flashing against a black workout set. Her face was flushed. Her posture was excellent. Her expression suggested she had been both tortured and improved. Alex followed her, holding a tablet. Hydrate before the car, Alex said. The woman waved a hand. Yes, yes. I mean it, Gloria. I know you do. That's why you're so irritating. You pay extra for irritating. I pay extra for results. And yet results prefer water. Gloria rolled her eyes, then saw me. Her gaze sharpened. People in Los Angeles recognized each other without always knowing from where. It was a survival skill. Vivian Dawson, she said. Gloria, I said warmly because I did know her. Museum board. Real estate family. Terrifying bridge player. Her eyes moved from me to Alex, then back to me. The rumor had legs already. Marvelous. I won't keep you, Gloria said, smiling in a way that suggested she absolutely would keep this information. Alexandra, Thursday? 10, Alex said. And don't glare at me if I bring complaints. I never glare. I educate with my face. Gloria laughed, touched Alex's arm with genuine affection, and left. I looked at Alex. She likes you, I said. Most people do eventually. That must be exhausting for them. Only in the beginning. She wore black leggings, a sleeveless dark green top, and no makeup I could identify. Her hair was pulled back, which did absolutely nothing to make her less distracting. In fact, it made the line of her neck more visible. Unhelpful. Professionally unacceptable, really. You're staring, she said. I'm observing. Rich people love that word. I am not here as a rich person. No. I am here as a victim of maternal fraud. Alex smiled and gestured toward the consultation room. Then let's discuss damages. The consultation room had 2 chairs, a low table, a wall of books, and a window overlooking a small courtyard filled with olive trees in large clay pots. Again tasteful. Again irritating. I sat. Alex did not sit immediately. She stood by the shelves, scrolling through her tablet. You have a nice studio, I said. Her eyes lifted. A small pause. Then, thank you. You sound surprised. I am. Why? You arrived prepared to hate it. I arrived prepared to evaluate it. Vivian. What? That is the expensive version of hate. I looked out the window. Wrong woman, sweetheart. Not funny. Not charming. Not working. Mostly. Alex sat across from me and set the tablet down. No phones, she asked. Why? Because your mother has texted me 3 times since you walked in. I took out my phone. For messages, don't be brittle. Listen before refusing. Alexandra has better instincts than you think. This is not interference. This is strategic optimism. I turned the phone face down on the table. Alex did the same with hers. Your mother, she said, is a gifted criminal. Yes. I see the appeal. I'm sorry. She believes in her crimes. That is not appeal. That is danger. It can be both. You two should never be left unsupervised. She said the same about us. I stared at her. Alex smiled, but it faded quickly. Good. Because this was not a flirtation. This was my life sitting between us in a room full of eucalyptus-scented calm, pretending to be negotiable. I'll start, Alex said. How generous. If we do this, no other people. You've mentioned. I'm repeating it because you have a very polished way of treating things you dislike as if they were decorative noise. That is not true. It is extremely true. I crossed one leg over the other. And if I agree to exclusivity, then I agree too. How noble. How basic. I looked at her. Alex leaned forward, elbows loosely on her knees. I mean it, she said. I'm not asking for romance on command. I'm not asking you to look at me across the breakfast table like your mother hired a violinist. She would. I know. I've begun preparing emotionally. Good. But if we wear rings and call this an engagement, I'm not dating anyone else, and neither are you. I don't date often. That's not the same as agreeing. I'm aware. Good. Her calm was beginning to bother me. Not because it was false. Because it was not. Alex did not seem thrilled. She did not seem eager to trap me. She was not performing some charming acceptance of absurdity. She was simply taking the situation seriously and refusing to let me turn seriousness into furniture. It was extremely inconvenient. What else? I asked. Honesty. Vague. Not really. If something bothers you, say it. That sounds exhausting. It's less exhausting than punishing everyone in a room with your cheekbones. I blinked. My what? You heard me. That was inappropriate. That was observational. You cannot weaponize compliments during negotiation. Sure I can. I tried not to smile. Failed internally. Recovered externally. Anything else? I asked. Yes. I keep my clients. My schedule changes only where necessary. You don't get to absorb my life because your mother took creative liberties with yours. I have no interest in absorbing your life. Good. I barely have time for my own. I noticed. You know nothing about my schedule. I know you treat rest like a software bug. I stared at her. She looked pleased with herself. That was not bad, I admitted. I have range. Clearly. And you? What about me? What do you need? The question was too direct. People asked me what I wanted from a deal, a project, an acquisition, a market, a quarter. They did not often ask me what I needed without already preparing to use it against me. I looked toward the courtyard. Discretion, I said. Given. Control over public exposure. Reasonable. No sentimental performances. Alex tilted her head. Define sentimental. No dramatic handholding. No staged romance. No posts. No captions about love being unexpected. Specific trauma? Los Angeles. Fair. No lying to my team beyond what is necessary. Agreed. No unnecessary touching. The second I said it, the air changed. Not loudly. Not visibly. But my body knew it. Alex sat back slightly. Define unnecessary. I looked at her. She did not smile. That was worse. Public touching for credibility, I said. Limited. Intentional. And private. None. None. Yes. That's your plan. That's my boundary. Alex studied me. Not unkindly. That was also worse. Separate lives, she said. Structured lives. Separate bedrooms? I lifted my chin. Obviously. Alex laughed. Not cruelly. Openly. Immediately. I went cold. I'm glad my boundary amuses you. I'm sorry, she said, still smiling. I am. But separate bedrooms. Yes. Vivian, we're not running a suspiciously elegant boarding school. I stared at her. She leaned back in her chair, laughter still in her eyes. You want me to move into your house, wear your ring, attend your dinners, smile at your mother, convince Arthur Wexley and half of Los Angeles that we are committed, and then sleep down the hall like a Victorian cousin? That is an unnecessarily vivid phrasing. It's an unnecessarily ridiculous plan. It is practical. It is a guest policy with jewelry. It is a boundary. It is a wall. Walls are useful. Sometimes, Alex said. Sometimes they just make people decorate loneliness and call it taste. I looked away. Too accurate. Too soon. You're very comfortable in other people's interior lives, I said. No. I'm comfortable noticing when people pretend not to have them. I stood. It was not dramatic. It was strategic. Mostly. I have another meeting. Alex remained seated, looking up at me with annoying composure. It's been 28 minutes. I rounded. Down. Aggressively. She rose too. Close. Not too close. Enough. Enough for me to notice that she smelled like cedar and something clean, maybe bergamot. Enough for my body to remember that the woman in front of me knew exactly how bodies worked and, more dangerously, how they avoided working. If we do this, Alex said, I'm not pretending. You keep saying that. Because you keep trying to build a version where we do. My pulse moved once hard. I hated that too. This is not a real marriage, I said. No, she said. Not yet. I stared at her. Her face did not change. The confidence. Honestly, it should have been illegal in enclosed spaces. You're assuming a lot, I said. I'm allowing for more. That is not the comfort you think it is. It wasn't meant to comfort you. Then what was it meant to do? Alex looked at me for a moment. To be true. I had no answer to that. Which was root of truth, frankly. At the door, she stopped me with one more sentence. Jeweler at 4:30. I turned slowly. Excuse me. Your mother booked it. I'm not going. I know. Good. I'm going. I stared. Alex folded her arms. If there's going to be a ring on my hand, I'm choosing it. If there's going to be one on yours, you should choose that too. Unless you want your mother selecting something that says tasteful hostage situation. The image landed so clearly that I almost laughed. Almost. She cannot just book appointments for us. She did. I am canceling. I'm sure she left you that illusion out of affection. My phone buzzed on the table. So did hers. Neither of us looked. Alex smiled faintly. 4:30, she said. I left the studio with my dignity mostly intact and my blood pressure less so. At 4:29, I walked into a private jewelry salon in Beverly Hills because apparently I had no survival instincts. The salon was not a store. Stores had counters and price tags and tourists. This place had velvet chairs, champagne, quiet security, and a woman named Elise who greeted my mother as if they had hidden bodies together. Evelyn, Elise said, kissing her cheek. Always a pleasure. Usually, my mother said. Vivian, Elise said, turning to me. You look beautiful. Thank you. And Alexandra, Elise said warmly. Congratulations. Alex stood beside me in a dark blazer and trousers, looking calm enough to be dangerous. Thank you, she said. I gave her a look. She did not even pretend not to see it. My mother sat on a pale velvet sofa like a queen accepting tribute. I asked Elise to pull a few options, she said. I'm shocked you showed restraint, I replied. I didn't. Elise edited me. Elise smiled professionally, which meant she had seen everything and judged nothing she could not invoice. A tray arrived. Then another. Then a third. Diamonds under soft light have a way of making even intelligent people briefly primitive. They glittered in clean, precise rows. Emerald cuts, ovals, asters, delicate pave bands, antique stones with warmer fire, modern settings with severe lines. I felt nothing. That was good. Feeling nothing was safe. My mother leaned forward. The oval is lovely. It is large enough to require permits, I said. Alex glanced at it. It could guide planes in fog. Elisa's smile trembled. My mother looked delighted. That is why I bring her places. No, I said. You bring her places because you have no respect for peace. Peace is often laziness in softer shoes. Alex murmured, that's going in my notes. I looked at her. Do not encourage the doctrine. Elise placed a smaller tray before me. These are less traditional, she said. Still elegant. More personal. Personal. There was that word again, behaving badly. I looked because it was easier than arguing. One ring caught my eye despite my best efforts. An emerald-cut diamond sat east-west on a simple platinum band. Clean, architectural, not delicate but not loud. It did not beg to be adored. It simply existed with good proportions and a refusal to sparkle unnecessarily. I hated that I liked it. Alex noticed immediately. Of course she did. That one, she said. I looked up. I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. I have a face. You have several. That was the honest one. My mother made a soft, satisfied sound. I ignored her with the discipline of a saint. Elise slipped the ring from the tray and offered it to me. I did not move. It was one thing to discuss madness. Another to let it touch your skin. Alex's voice softened. You don't have to. I looked at her. She meant it. No pressure. No tease. No little push. Just the first respectful sentence anyone had said near a diamond all day. That was what made me